We find ourselves here in Rome unexpectedly. We had a diagnosis for our younger son, Tom. So it was the worst news a parent can get, really.
Everything was turned upside down.
We got on aeroplanes with a couple of suitcases and we're going to take this chance.
We really gave up everything, our jobs, our house.
In the hope we would get some treatment for Tom that would do him some good.
These kids, they're falling off a cliff. You gotta catch them before they hit the bottom.
Battens is a terrible, nasty disease that needs to be wiped off the face of the earth.
It's a horrible, horrible, horrible disease. It's torture for the parents.
Layla, she has CLN2 Battens disease. She was just completely normal.
Hey, Papa.
And at 3, they start having seizures.
And my daughter was seizing every day.
And then they start to regress.
They have movement disorders, they go blind, they become demented, so they lose language and they lose the ability to walk.
They're wheelchair bound at about 5 years of age. They're usually on a feeding tube by 6 years of age and are in a semi-vegetative state up until when they pass away at the age of 10.
A genetic counselor called me and said, "Your daughter has CLN2. And he said, "I'm sorry, this is it. There's no treatment."
You know, a disease from hell, one that just really takes everything away from a child.
The standard of care over 30 years has not altered the course of the disease one iota.
It's devastation.
This disease is full of trauma and loss. For a long time, physicians said, well, there's nothing we can offer and there's no hope. We've had entire families wiped out from this.
It was always heartbreaking to give the diagnosis of CLN2 disease to a family. You basically give them a death sentence.
When Vlad developed first symptoms, it was too late for everything. 5 years old, he practically stopped walking, stopped speaking. 5 years old, he collapsed.
Unfortunately, there was no treatment. Vlad passed away.
It's very important to appreciate your time with your child. It's very important. With my daughter, it's a different story.
We're looking for a lifeboat in a sea of devastation. We want to keep our kids alive.
We were told in 2009 that my son Noah was in a house that was on fire. We went out and tried to find a hose, tried to find a shovel to throw dirt on the fire, tried to do anything we could to save our son.
It's so hard for you to see that it's like you have to help.
And that's really a spring that unleashed the company's energy to go after patients with this terrible disease.
We are driven by science and interested in helping relieving the suffering of other people.
We had all the tools at our fingertips to do it. But there's some things in here that no one's ever done before. So there's bound to be questions about it.
My husband and I didn't know that we carried the same mutation, and it created this rare disease called Batten disease, and our kids have the CLN2 form.
Peter LaBelle and David Sleet in his lab, they had discovered the CLN2 gene many years ago.
My interest in NCL and Batten's disease started in, I think, 2007, when Emil Kakis, who was the CMO of BioMarine, asked me to look into that disease, and he wanted me to be the project leader to bring a solution to the disease in-house. The problem with enzymes and proteins is that how do you tackle injecting a protein into the brain? It had not been done before. It came to me that these kids need something, and if I don't do it, I don't know who else could do it.
I'm a mother of 4. I have a 2-year-old, I have twins who are 11, and I have an angel who would be 13 right now. His name's Noah.
December of 2007. We were getting ready for Christmas, and I noticed Noah just sort of tip over, but he pulled himself up. He seemed okay. About a minute later, he fell down again the same way, and he didn't get up. Had a terrifying moment. A few weeks later, Noah has another episode, this time with some more convulsing, and we call the paramedics again. More testing, more scans, and they diagnose him with a known cause of epilepsy.
Typically, the physician will tell the parents that it's childhood epilepsy. Eventually, it's not going away.
And the families spend all that time in doctor's offices trying to find out what's going wrong and not knowing that that's the only time they have to enjoy their kids.
The families have no idea why, and their children are already mentally half gone and physically as well.
On our 18-month diagnostic journey, we visited 3 neurologists in Chicago, got no answers there, and were able to be referred out to Duke Children's.
Our doctor at Duke, he started talking to me about CLN2 Batten.
It's like all the oxygen just gets sucked out of your life in those 20 seconds as this guy reads these words off. You don't have to accept the status quo.
In 2009, I was presenting a poster at a scientific conference in Germany.
This research conference, it's the World Congress on NCLs. Everyone in the world that's working on this is going to be in one place. Well, how can I not go?
I see 2 people coming to look at the poster, and they had lots of questions.
My father-in-law, Norb, introduced me to a scientist by the name of Pascal Tiger from BioMarin.
Obviously, they did not know anything about Batten's disease.
I have no idea what these people are talking about.
You know, he did not know the progression of the disease. He just knew that Noah had a problem.
I can't say for sure, but I don't think this program would be here without having met her that day.
The story with Noah was very traumatizing to me, and I took it very personally. When I came back from that conference, I just wanted to get this done as soon as possible, and I drove my team completely crazy.
The drive that she had to keep this program on track, I think our community, we owe so much gratitude to her.
There was a time where we were considering out-licensing the product.
With Brineura itself, we had to make some tough decisions. We almost out-licensed it, again, because it's a relatively small market.
Chuck took up the torch. He was constantly coming by my office and saying, just keep going, keep going, keep going.
A nice dog model came out of the University of Missouri, and that dog model recapitulated the disease process almost to a T.
That dog species has the same genetic defect that the kids do. So they have the same enzyme missing, the same problems, they get the same kind of symptoms.
Chuck O'Neill, he basically had said, listen, I have never seen an animal study that shows a therapeutic benefit as big as this one.
And they were on the verge of outsourcing it, and JJ asked to see the data.
You see the video of Waylon and Lulu, and after treatment, one looks a whole lot better than the other.
And I went up there and showed JJ the movies, and he just said, no, this is ours. This is what we do.
It's an enzyme, ultra-orphan drug. Strategically, it's perfect for BioMarin.
I thought I was going to lose my job, you know?
Then the research part is over, and I hand the project to Tom Lester. Tom is just awesome.
The team working on the clinical plan and the regulatory plan was really small. This program was referred to as Project MacGyver.
MacGyver means to put it together on a shoestring, take a paper clip and diffuse a neutron bomb.
It was basically to say, under the radar, small group, take what you have at your fingertips and make it work.
Looking at the animal model, looking at the progression in the patients, we had a really good shot on goal that we were going to have a big effect.
My name is Dr. Angela Schulz. I work at the Children's Hospital, University Medical Center in Hamburg.
Okay, my name is Dr. Alfred Kohlschütte. I am a pediatrician.
I started working on NCL diseases about 15 years ago.
I started to deal with these diseases of the brain long before a possible treatment appeared on the horizon.
We met with Angela and Alfred again. I thought, well, you know, will they sign on as clinical investigators?
We talked to Chuck O'Neill, and he presented us the first preliminary data on the Dachshund trial. And we got so excited.
I think this was lucky to find a dog that had exactly the same disease as our children with CLN2 disease. This convinced me that we should take the risk and go into a clinical trial.
With that approval from Angela and Alfred, who are the world experts, we felt we have a really good shot.
I flew to Hamburg, Germany, and we sat down with Dr. Schultz and Kohlschütter's people who'd been collecting patient information in untreated kids for the past 30 years. And we hashed out what the beginnings of a treatment protocol might look like.
A single 24-patient clinical trial with a natural history control.
For this program, you know that every minute counts. Every day counts for these kids.
The sense of urgency on this disease is different.
And we're working on a timeline that is light speed compared to normal drug development. We're going for approval on one study in 24 patients. Most companies don't do that.
Dr. Angela Schultz, she's in Hamburg. Dr. Nicolas Specchio, his hospital is actually within the Vatican City. It's the Bambino Gesù, or Baby Jesus Hospital. Our third clinical site is in London, Dr. Paul Gisson, and in our own backyard in Columbus, Ohio, Nationwide Children's Hospital, Dr. Emily Delos Reyes.
We were lucky enough to find out 1 month before a clinical trial was starting. The only thing we knew was this was our only chance.
Children were coming from every country in the world, from United States, UK, Italy, France, Romania, Montenegro.
The world actually has changed on the day when we gave the first infusion.
The first patient dosed was in Hamburg, and I was nervous and anxious. The route of administration here is pretty heroic. We are drilling holes in people's skulls. We are putting a catheter into the middle of their brain, and we infuse drug in every 14 days.
The first image, Alfred Kohlschütter had a picture of a patient.
First patient was eating some kind of sausage and potato porridge while she was getting her first infusion, and I'm like flipping out, going, she's gonna throw up, and there goes the drug, you know, but she didn't, you know, went forward, it was great.
Oh my God, if the kid can eat that, then it must be okay.
We had a lot of discussion. Is this a big burden when the enzyme is administered? And we have all been amazed how well the children tolerate it. The most important thing is that you do not block their view so that they can watch the movie while you hold their head.
Within the relatively short period of the trial, we have been hugely encouraged by the skills that they have not lost.
It's very rare that you actually look at a readout and go, holy, I've got something. And we did.
When I started into the field, I told myself one day we'll be there. This is the day that I've been waiting for, at least for the last 15 years, since I saw the first patient with NCL disease.
We've had patient associations all over Europe contact us, and everyone is watching to see what that data looks like.
It was exciting to feel the energy in the room, and it was a thrilling moment for those of us who are connected to the Batten community.
And Dr. Schultz got up there, gave her presentation.
The hushed silence fell across the whole room.
This is exactly why we do what we do, to have this once in a lifetime.
The skies parted and we heard about Brineura.
All the work and the heartache, the time away, all those things sort of melted away.
The door has been swung open to a new era where effective treatment is possible.
And the data actually is astonishing.
I was there sitting with Tracy Van Houten. He has been a driving force in this program. Noah especially was the heartbeat of this for many people.
The big one was always getting real medicine in real kids. There are new babies coming home from hospitals. There are kids that just had their first seizure this week. They're gonna have a different life than my kids had.
I talk to so many families who have nothing and their children are dying. This is huge to my day.
It's bringing hope to patients. Now people can start to dream.
Time is clicking for all these kids, and now even more, it's a race against time, because now you know that you might have something in your hand.
There's always a battle. There's always a battle.
I don't think any other company can really pull this off the way we have been doing it.
We started working on the submissions, that was early March. Life turned upside down.
Everything has happened so fast. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind.
This was an unexpected experience when we realized how big the submission was.
It's like writing 1,000 novels about one topic. It's a lot of people sacrificing time with their family, sacrificing sleep.
This is a really important day. You don't get many days like this where you get to file a product with a great hope of it being approved.
We talk about the kids all the time, how they're doing.
We're treating kids that have no other hope, and it's really important what we do, so I do it.
If anything slips, it's not going to happen.
A lot of people were scrambling up until the 11th hour. We weren't sure if we were going to have all the pieces together.
It was a lot of stress over the last 6 months to get to here. And we're all sitting around smiling and friends with each other. So that's a testament to the teamwork.
Today we're filing the BLA for Brineura. It's a great day for the patients, great day for everyone that's worked here.
Given the size of the actual submission, 25 gigs is going to be burned onto 7 DVDs and will be submitted to FDA.
It's going to be a simultaneous filing both here and Europe. We've never done that before.
EU Reg Ops is going to push the button, transmit the submission tomorrow morning around 10 o'clock.
It was at least 6 months of work just to put the application together.
Anytime you get to a regulatory filing, it's very time consuming. I literally have hundreds of people in my organization that are working on this.
I get up every morning at 3:30 and I don't get home until 7 o'clock at night. And the work that I do, it's everything.
Close it.
That was the culmination of everything that we've been working toward for 2 years in a single package. Fortune favors the bold. Fortune favors the bold.
It's like, is this really happening after all this time?
We knew it was going to be hard. We knew it was going to be long hours. We knew it was going to be a lot of sweat and tears put into this, and we did it. Within 60 days, we should hear back. They've accepted the application and they're beginning to review it. They'll give us what's called a PDUFA date, which is Prescription Drug User Fee Act date. And hopefully in about 8 months, we get a letter that says this has been approved. You got one swing, and it's got to be a home run. After the package was delivered to both agencies, we started getting questions within a week. We're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel.
And our PDUFA date is January 27th, 2017.
We will launch Brineura out of our California facility, and we're going to be transferring this to our plant in Ireland. We're going to scale it up almost tenfold.
The aim is to bring together the global commercial launch team from around the world.
We really all have to ramp up and be prepared. So the moment there's a go, we're ready to hit the road running.
If this drug comes to market next year, it'll be the fastest drug development program probably any pharmaceutical company has ever done.
The mantra for the global commercial launch team since day one, keep calm and plan for launch. Do you want to see the mug?
This is a big deal for this community. I want people to have access. That's what I want.
The decision to grant access outside of clinical trial settings before we have approval was made based on our credo to put patients' needs first and still give the chance to some of the families to benefit from the treatment.
Many of these parents who are in expanded access have just gotten started, and that is magic.
I can tell you a story with the Pope.
Francis said, "Come to me, I want to see patients. I want to see all of them."
13 different families with NCLs, and 7 of them have CLN2 were invited to the Vatican.
It was absolutely emotional.
As Jewish, I was still moved. He hugged and kissed every single of our NCL children.
Oh, it was incredible. That was incredible. To meet His Holiness and to have him bless our children was just an extraordinary experience.
We were talking with the Pope, saying that there is a new treatment now. He was absolutely incredibly happy.
And he blessed the program to move forward.
Everyone felt themselves really light.
The months leading up to the FDA filing were the easy months. The months since then have gotten increasingly more difficult.
We ran into a real low point with the FDA.
They asked for a bunch of new statistical analyses, basically redo everything. Everyone was like, we're never gonna make it.
It was almost a showstopper.
We were hoping for US approval in January 27th, and now the PDUFA date is switched to April 27th. It's hard not to get discouraged.
There were people working holidays and weekends and nights.
We've had an epic winter here, and we've had an epic FDA review.
Strong winds and heavy rain pounding the Bay Area.
Yeah, the Bay Area was absolutely hammered with intense rains, winds,
right now
and
is
snow.
the North Bay. That much rain in just one day has rivers at or above flood stage.
We've been dealing not only with work, but with flooding and road closures and ridiculous traffic.
It was basically raining questions from the health authorities as well. We were being pounded by questions.
One day, this beautiful rainbow showed up. It was maybe 10 minutes before the FDA call, so a bunch of people rush out, and we stand at the window, and we're looking. This has got to be a good sign, right? You know, like rainbow, like what could go wrong? And we go in there, and then we get the news. You know, haven't found the substantial evidence of effectiveness, and we're like, oh my God, what about the rainbow? Didn't I see the rainbow? But I guess they didn't see that rainbow that day.
When we need to get something done, people pull together because they all have the common vision.
There's unknowns that are coming. There's gonna be tornadoes coming our way. There's gonna be trees falling in our way, but we're gonna run through it.
I just want to win this thing.
You have impasse, as we were having, take it to a personal level.
Our advocacy community wanted to send some letters to say, don't forget our children. This is not just data on a page, this is people's lives.
They gracefully said, well, you know, we'd love to have a meeting where the patients come to the FDA and talk a little bit about their experiences.
We had 2 parents, 2 advocates, and an actual patient.
He was in the room with his iPad. When he did something good on his game, he would go, woohoo, you know, in the middle of the meeting.
They've heard the testimonies of the parents, and this has really brought home the personal nature of this disease.
(9:14 a.m., April 27th. I was talking to Tracy on the phone about the press release, and all of a sudden my computer made a loud noise.
Oh my God, it's here! Lisa has a special alarm on her computer. Sounds like a doorbell.
And it said approval on my screen, and it was completely shocking.
We just went into hysterics. It was great.
It was a rush of emotion. There was people yelling in my office.
We had a good idea that something was going to come today. It was really the completion of an era.
Catherine, Lauren, and I got a quick text from Lisa Malandro and saying, come quietly to Guthrie. And as we came up from the elevator, you can hear the joys and the clapping and, you know, walking into that room and getting hugs from people that have been working tirelessly.
It was emotional. I was crying, and I feel so proud.
This is the coolest thing I've ever done in my career, to work on this project. I'm sorry. I think it's just hitting me what's happening.
I feel very excited, I feel very happy. It's as if you've been under a sky that's completely cloudy, and then all of a sudden this opens up and you see the sun shine through. It's a breakthrough experience.
And now we can say yes.
That's an indescribable feeling right now.
It's this rejoicing time for families hoping for the drug. It's a bittersweet time for families who came before.
It's bittersweet because we have in our mind the children for whom this is too late.
Tracy's family is a perfect example. He was spearheading that charge. Even though his kids won't benefit from it, but he knows the community will.
It's balancing different emotions. The end result is, I didn't help my kids. On the other hand, we've gotten to know so many of these other families from around the world. It does take a lot of the hurt away for all of us that helped make it happen.
We did take a moment this morning to watch Noah's video and to think about him and his family.
If it wasn't for Noah and Tracy Van Houten and Jen Van Houten and their other daughter, Elaine, the whole family contributed to having Brineura approved.
This day changes families with CLN2 Batten disease forever.
It is truly amazing.
It's an enormous step.
Now it's in commercials' hands to bring Brineura to patients all over the world as quickly as we can, as safely as we can.
Hi, I'm Janina from Argentina, and we are at the Seiza airport waiting for the first shipment of Brineura.
I'm happy. It's so excited, and my team in Argentina and Chile, they are all there ready to start.
We have the countries ready to go and the KOLs eager to prescribe Brineura.
And when I think about our field team that is out there today talking to physicians for the first time about this product, they're ready for the unexpected.
So there's a gong in the office that gets rung with huge regulatory milestones.
Everyone in the whole company, if they hear the gong, they know something big just happened. It's probably what a gong originally started as, back in whenever gongs were invented, thousands of years ago, to tell the countryside something important was happening.
I think I hit it a little harder than I anticipated, so I scared myself.
This is great news for CLN2 patients. Again, great news from BioMarin, and I'm very happy to celebrate this with the gong.
Today, it's a great day. Being here and see how JJ to the gong, it was, oh my God, this is great. We are all a team. We are working all together.
It was really amazing having the drug approved. There were two specific families. They were here in the hospital on that day. Some of them were also crying because they were so happy, and they were happy for the future of their children.
She loves school. Whenever kids her age are around, she just lights up. The community supports her, her teachers support her. We have friends now in this community who love her like she's their own child. It's wonderful.
The best science has come through on the research, on the non-clinical development, on the clinical development. It's changed the paradigm of how fast we can get drugs to these patients. And it's probably set a new bar for the entire team and all of BioMarin.
People in the organization feel that they are leading something.
It's captured the imagination of the whole company. It sort of reminds you why you're in the business and why you do what you do.
This is something, quite frankly, no one's done before.
What Brineura represents is definitely, making a huge difference in a very small patient population, which is the true spirit of BioMarin.
This particular project, it was like a ladder. If you break one step of the ladder, you're done. And I can remember Peter Lobel being the first step, and then us in research being the second step on the ladder, and then another step, and another step, and another step. And it's the way to go to the moon. But beyond the moon, you can go further, you can reach the stars.
How do you change the world? One step at a time. We're changing the world. These families, these patients, it's a different world now.
We were very fortunate to get an earlier diagnosis through our younger son, Tom.
I can fly over the daddy.
Within a month and a half of that diagnosis, we were accepted onto the trial in Rome.
The hospital has been incredible, and this treatment, this is the start of a new chapter. And that's been such a magnificent relief to be able to keep him stable and indeed improve him.
Don't close it. Where's Tom? Keep it open. Where's Tom? Keep the tunnel open. Shut the tunnel.
He's got a great sense of humour and he enjoys his life. And that's really what sustains us, I think. It's amazing what he's able to do, and that's a time where we really see him full of joy.